Coming up on TCTV News, a school bus crash in Tennessee kills 2 students and 1 student aide.
You can now buy Girl Scout cookies online.
I know what I'm doing after this.
And the Glenn Miller Orchestra comes to campus. The news starts now.
You're watching TCTV News, your only source for news and entertainment on campus.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to TCTV News. I'm Taylor Runser.
And I'm Colin Vitale. The UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said coalition forces led by the U.S. on Saturday carried out 30 or more airstrikes against Islamic State of Iraq and Greater Syria militants in northern Syrian province of Raqqa. The area under attack included a Syrian army base that ISIS fighters captured in July. The observatory said at least 27 people were killed in a massacre in the province of Dara on Monday. Fighting also continues in the town of Kobani, which Kurdish fighters have been defending from ISIS onslaught for over 2 months.
Girl Scouts are adding digital marketing to their formidable arsenal of charm, cuteness, and perseverance to sell millions of boxes of Thin Mints, my personal favorite, Samoas, and other longtime cookie favorites. After years of prohibiting internet sales, the Girl Scouts of the USA, the group's national organization, has approved Digital Cookie, a platform for Scouts to sell and ship the colorfully boxed cookies to friends and relatives around the country. The expansion beyond traditional selling strategies like operating booths outside supermarkets, sending order forms into their parents' workplaces, and door-to-door canvassing is expected to increase the nearly $800 million raised in annual cookie sales.
Witnesses are crediting a family's German Shepherd with shielding its owners from gunfire in an Atlanta road rage incident Friday. The shooting began with an altercation on an Atlanta highway. The driver followed the family to a nearby strip mall and began shooting, according to an unnamed witness interviewed by a local news station. The witness said the dog jumped in front of one of the children and a woman in the car. Surveillance video captured the dog trotting off behind a nearby building where it died from its wounds. Atlanta Police Sergeant Gregory Lyons said they survived that only to find out that their pet is now gone. It's sad for the whole family, especially the day after Thanksgiving.
For the first time since Apollo 17 returned from the moon in 1972, NASA is scheduled to loft an astronaut capsule on Thursday to soar beyond low Earth orbit. No one will be aboard this flight test of the new capsule, Orion, but NASA hopes it is the first step toward human exploration of the solar system, including an eventual landing on Mars. Orion's first manned mission is planned for the early 2020s. Orion, which looks like a larger version of the cone-shaped Apollo capsule, is sitting atop a Delta IV heavy rocket at Cape Canaveral Air Station in Florida.
2 students and an adult were killed when 2 buses collided on a Tennessee highway Tuesday afternoon. Knoxville Police Chief David Roush said the children seemed to be in 3rd grade or younger and the adult was a student aide. One bus involved from the accident came from Sunnyview Primary School. The other bus in the crash was from Chilhowie Intermediate School. Another 20 children were taken to the University of Tennessee Medical Center immediately to receive treatment for minor injuries.
Israel's government fell apart Tuesday as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired 2 rebellious cabinet ministers. Netanyahu called for a new election more than 2 years ahead of schedule. His announcement on the election, expected to be held next year, led to the worsening of violence between Palestinians and Jews. The current government took office in 2013. However, Netanyahu accused Finance Minister Yair Lapid of trying to plan on putsch. After the dismissal, he demanded the government to hold elections as soon as possible.
The House GOP is seeking to finalize the nation's year-end plan of funding and immigration. House Republicans struggled Tuesday to come up with a coalescence to avoid a government shutdown next week and challenged President Barack Obama's decision to spare millions of immigrants from deportation. Taxes, spending, and immigration are the 3 dominant issues in the final few weeks of a 2-year Congress. Some officials predict it is going to be much more difficult this year. Funding legislation would follow next week, which is also expected to be a major issue for House Republicans.
2 men were killed after a helicopter crashed into an empty industrial building north of Salt Lake City, Utah this past week. The police said that the small helicopter hit the roof of a 2-story building about 2 p.m. Tuesday. 2 men in the helicopter died at the scene, Police Chief Craig Black said. The helicopter broke into 2 pieces in the air and immediately caught flames. It is not yet clear where the helicopter was headed, but officials assume that it departed from a small airport just north of the building. The Federal Aviation Administration is still investigating the cause of the crash.
The Glenn Miller Orchestra performed in Passavant last night. Marianne Elder was there to give us a behind-the-scenes look.
Glenn Miller Orchestra swung into Thiel College on December 2nd, leaving audience members tapping their feet and immersed in culture. The world-famous band played such tunes as Pennsylvania 65000, Moonlight Serenade, and brought Christmas carols to the stage before the night ended. Chris Williams, the director of the Greenville Steel Drum Band, had said few words on how thankful he was for the opening act.
Hello, my name is Chris Williams, and I'm the band director at Greenville High School. I'm in my second year at this school. As part of my duties as the high school director, I conduct the Greenville Steel Drum Band, and we just actually concluded performing as the opening act for the Glenn Miller Orchestra tonight at Passavant Center at Thiel. It was a very big honor to perform for people as they were walking in. I know my kids are really looking forward to hearing the jazz orchestra, and that's something we also have at Greenville, so this will give them a taste of what the professionals do. Like I said, this is just a really great thing for the band and for the kids, so we're thankful to be here, and thanks for having us.
The Glenn Miller Band continues to travel the world. This has been Marianne, back to the desk.
Thanks, Marianne. Thrilling stuff. The uncle of a 12-year-old boy who had a pellet gun when he was shot by a Cleveland police officer is telling mourners that they must be advocates for change through peaceful protest. Tamir Rice's uncle said at a memorial service on Wednesday that police need to change how they train officers and take a closer look at how they communicate with dispatches. He says that the community needs to become Tamir's voice because he can no longer speak for himself. Police say a rookie officer who shot Tamir in November 22nd believed the boy had a real firearm when he actually had an airsoft gun that shoots non-lethal plastic pellets. A grand jury will consider whether charges will be issued.
Police are investigating Michael Brown's stepfather for angry comments on the streets of Ferguson after a grand jury decided not to indict the police officer who fatally shot his stepson. Officials have decided to look into Lewis Head's comments as a part of a broader investigation into the arson, vandalism, and looting that followed the grand jury's announcement, resulting in the destruction of 12 commercial buildings. Nighttime protests have diminished slightly in Ferguson, but police are keeping a small guard posted outside of Ferguson Police Headquarters at night, as it has been a main point for protests. Have we got any more snow headed our way, or will winter heat up again? Ronell has your latest with weather updates.
Pretty good for a second right now. We're not going to have any snow at all. Seems like we might even feel like we're almost in Florida for a tad bit of time. No snow. We're going to jump up in weather. We're actually going to increase to the mid-40s going right on into next week, looking at about 43 degrees, dropping slightly lower, but it's okay. No snow coming within our near future. We'll have a lot of high humidity. I will give you more. Just stay tuned in the newscast.
Another week of never being able to plan my outfits ahead of time. Thanks, Ronell. Up next is your weekly entertainment update with Trent. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to TCTV Entertainment. Snooki has officially tied the knot. The former Jersey Shore star married longtime boyfriend Gianni Lavalli in a church ceremony on Saturday in East Hanover, New York, just 15 miles west of New York City. Jersey Shore castmates Sammy Giancola, Dina Cortese, and Jenny Farley were in attendance. Polizzi currently stars with Farley in MTV's Snooki and JWoww. 17 groomsmen and 15 bridesmaids attended the Great Gatsby-themed ceremony, while a few dozen onlookers waited outside the church. Best wishes to the happy couple. The latest installment of the Hunger Games series, Mockingjay Part 1, had fans asking for seconds over Thanksgiving. The film grossed an estimated $82.6 million in just 5 days, the third highest take for any film playing over the Wednesday through Sunday holiday span. I'm here with communications professor Dr. Victor Evans to get some insight on his professional career. Now, Dr. Evans, it's a pleasure to have you on TCTV right now. First of all, we're just going to dive right in. You worked for MTV, you worked for BET, Entertainment Weekly. How did it feel to work on such prestigious companies like that?
It was great. I mean, especially Entertainment Weekly, that all came out of an internship, actually, that I started my senior year, and they just happened to have a job when I graduated, and so I just kind of fell into it. So again, that's why internships so important.
Absolutely huge, absolutely huge. That's
so
phenomenal.
that was great. And then MTV, again, I just happened to know people at NYU when I was there. They got me into there. So it's all about who you know and who you, and so I have to say MTV was a dream of mine because I loved MTV. I was a huge Real World fan, and so I always knew that MTV was where I wanted to at least be at some portion of my life. I just didn't think it'd be so early.
Right, of
but
course.
I was happy when it
had
did
those
happen.
networking connections
Right.
early on that definitely scored the job. Now, you know, you've had a lot of interactions, I bet, you know, on the job. Were you starstruck at first? Did you kind of get used to it?
Oh no, I was very starstruck. Like I could barely talk to anybody. I remember the very first, and it's funny because they have a commercial out now, but remember Salt and Pepper?
Yes.
That was my
Yes.
very first press conference that they
Wow.
sent me to with MTV with Salt and Pepper. So like I was right in front, and one of them said hello to me. I can't remember which one, and I was like, and I
couldn't even
say- I
speak.
couldn't
Yeah.
even speak, you know.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, very much starstruck.
Now, over time, did you make any sort of personal connections with any of the celebrities? I mean,
Well, it's funny you say that because, funny enough, Holly Robinson Pete, who you probably don't remember, but
Probably
there used
not.
to be a show called 21 Jump Street back in the day.
back in the day. Yeah, I did hear about it briefly. Yes, okay.
And they've done movies since
Right.
then, so
Yes.
it's based on that TV show.
Of course.
She was the star of the show. And so when I was at BET, she did a lot of BET movies. And so she and I became really good friends, and she just celebrated her 40th birthday.
Wow.
And so they were doing all these video tributes to her, and so they asked me to do one for her at her party. So I thought that was nice. So
Definitely
she's
an honor.
probably my best sort of celebrity friend that's still out in LA. But
Oh, of
I
course.
mean, you know, I won't say we're friends, but Halle Berry and I worked on her Losing Isaiah movie when she did that, and so I mean, she probably wouldn't know my name, but we were friendly at that time.
Oh, of
so,
course.
you know, just depending on what you were working on, you could have been friendly with them at that time. But
Exactly.
the thing is that you come in and out of their lives so quickly, and they have so much going on. It's kind of hard to keep a steady relationship.
It's just a blur. Yeah, of
Exactly.
course. Now, what really prepared you? I know you mentioned, you know, NYU. Was that a huge difference in getting into that big market with that prestigious, you know, college?
Well, one thing I will say about NYU is that it did open a lot of doors in terms of when I wanted to do internships, for sure. Because even though I was at MTV, we still had to do an internship. And so you couldn't do it at the place you were already working. So
Right.
I did, you know, do some internships at some other places. And so that opened the door for me to be able to do that. Like one place was the Body Shop. I don't know if you heard of those stores.
Yes,
Kind of
yep,
I did
absolutely.
a public relations internship with them where I helped them do their press releases and all of those things. And so that got me in the door there. So I would say definitely just name recognition can help a lot.
Definitely, of course. And the last one is, you know, what's some bit of advice that you think, you know, aspiring students to go into this media realm and possibly have these jobs like you had? What's some advice to give them?
I would say internship, and network. I mean, those are really the biggest
huge. It's
things.
vital keys.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it really is. Get to know someone who knows someone else who can possibly get your foot in the door. That's really what it's all about. If you can do that, you'll get in. You will. It just takes some perseverance, and it takes some knocking on doors, which is difficult. That was hard for me to do too. But truthfully, once you start meeting people and you really get to know them and you generally like them, they're willing to help you.
Absolutely.
They really are.
Absolutely. Well, Victor, I want to thank you so very much to be on the show. We'll be right back after the break. One of your Tomcat wrestlers was actually featured as an extra in the movie. Stay tuned. And we're back with Jake Lowry. And Jake, word has it that you were actually featured as an extra in a film, Foxcatcher. You know, what was the experience like? Because this is a wrestling movie.
It was pretty cool. I mean, I got to meet a lot of famous actors as well as some of my idols in the wrestling world, such as like Jake Herbert and those kind of guys. So it was pretty cool to get out there and meet some of those people.
It's pretty amazing, I bet. Now, you know, it's got potential to win an Oscar. You know, it's already won, you know, the Best Director at the Cannes for Bennett Miller. You know, it's already won a few titles in Toronto. What does it mean to you that the sport of wrestling is getting this worldwide exposure with this huge movie coming out?
I think it's awesome. We almost got shut down, as you know, in the Olympics the last couple years, and I think any little piece of exposure will help, and I think something like this might allow people to see like what the sport of wrestling actually is and like how hard of work it is and what people have to do to be good at it.
Absolutely. Jake, I want to thank you so much for your time, and guys, make sure to check out Foxcatcher, now in theaters.
Good evening, Tomcats, and welcome to this year's final edition of TCTV Sports. I'm Paul Connolly, and I'm joined here by Thiel wrestler Jake Lowry. Jake, thanks for coming on the show here. Just a couple quick questions for you. You had a phenomenal year last year, coming in your senior year, and what are your expectations for this team?
I think we're going to do pretty awesome. We were ranked 14th. We have a lot of injuries right now, but I think next semester everyone will be back and we'll be as strong as we were before.
And talking about that 14th rank, you guys came in unranked in the season and beating Mountain Union like that. What did that mean for you guys to, start off the season?
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, we started off on the highest note we could, but like I said, these injuries kind of got us down, but we're just looking forward to bouncing back next semester.
Awesome, Jake. Well, thanks for joining me.
No problem.
NBA analyst Charles Barkley has openly talked about having racial issues and has addressed the grand jury's decision not to indict Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson. He also mentioned the subsequent rioting in an appearance on Philadelphia radio station 97.5 The Fanatic. In October, he had voiced his controversial comments about the black community and condemned those who looted stores and burned down local businesses. Barkley continues to defend the police and says that in some neighborhoods it would be considered the Wild West if not for their police presence. If you're looking for something to do after the Dome opener on December 5th, look no further. The annual Hoopapalooza will be happening this Friday in the gym at 8:30. There will be gift cards, food, and a $100 cash prize for the half-court shot contest. On Tuesday, Major League umpire Dale Scott came out as the first openly gay male referee in a major American professional sport. Scott, whose career as an umpire spans over 29 years in the major leagues, received an overwhelmingly supportive response to his decision to publicly come out. Ray Rice returns to the NFL after winning his appeal on charges of spousal abuse earlier this year. The former Ravens back appeared on Good Morning America saying that he loves his wife Janae and that he was thankful Judge Barbara Jones believed him. Rice said, "I made inexcusable mistakes and accept full responsibility for my actions." He also expressed that he will continue to work hard to improve himself and be a good husband. In international news, Keanu Wu passed away recently at the age of 100 years old. Wu was considered the Go master and made a significant condition for the Chinese Go community. Wu originates from the Fuzhou province of China, where he started learning the Go as a wonder child. Until age 14, his career began in Japan as a professional player. In his old age, he spent most of his lifetime in the Go's development and international road. Then he joined the Chinese ancient culture and created the 21st century Go. That's it for this edition of TCTV Sports. When we come back, we got Ronell with the weather. Stay tuned.
Hi, thank you for tuning in to today's TCTV weather. This is Ron L. Hunt. I'll be bringing you what's going on right around our country and particularly right outside of our window. Check this out. If we actually look right over there into our western region, we can see on this whole entire area 65 degrees, roughly 52 degrees. If you're in that Vegas area, Seattle and such, dropping a little bit low in temperature as we're going to be looking at 36 degrees, dropping low, but it's okay because right over in our area, 1 degree higher. Youngstown, 37 degrees. Chicago, 31 degrees. 21 degrees right above Chicago. Now we're going to see what's going on with our humidity. So, all right, now if we look right over here into our western area, we're going to be hitting about 100% of humidity. I'm telling you guys, make sure you have some type of towel, ShamWow, anything to keep you dry. Take a rub down and you're all set to go. Cleveland, 87 degrees. Swing it right on over here. Youngstown, you're going pretty high. 3 degrees below 100%. Still need that ShamWow in your back pocket, hey, or we can go over to our wind right there on that whole eastern region. We're going to have some calming right there around Newcastle, particularly my hometown area. We're going to have Youngstown, have some wind coming from that southwestern region, 7 miles per hour, and all around that area ranging around 8 to 10 miles per hour. Going to see what's right on side of our window, right outside, smack dab on that eastern side, 36, 35 degrees, ranging to roughly around the mid-30s. However, such as we come over here, we're going to be ranging around our high 30s, 37 degrees if you're around Beaver, and also around Elwood City, Newcastle, 36 degrees right there. All right, now over to our final 7-day forecast all around that whole Wednesday and Thursday area. As you can see, we're going to be having 39 degrees, 34 degrees, lowest of 29 degrees, swinging right on in. Nice, comfortable weather for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, going from 41 up to 46. Mild wind, slightly of a cast of clouds right there, lowest 34, swinging on into Tuesday, right before we go on the finals week, 37 degrees and 32 is our low. That's it for your TCTV News weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Ronell. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for some snow. Ariana Smith is a 3-year-old girl from Winterport, Maine, who is one of the youngest viewers to watch the Children's Miracle Network hospital video that raises money for charity. Unlike many of the viewers, she had no idea why some of the children did not have hair, so she asked her parents, who explained to her that their medicine causes it to fall out.
Ariana was inspired by this and told her parents that they can have some of hers. So for her very first haircut, she decided to donate her hair to the children who didn't have any. This inspiring act of kindness has gone viral and inspired many others to view her story and create their very own acts of kindness.
That's so sweet of her. That's all we've got for TCTV News. I'm Taylor Runser.
And I'm Colin Vitale. Make it a good holiday, Tomcats.
You've been watching TCTV News, your only source for news and entertainment on campus.